Hey guys, thanks a lot. Welcome to the Gamers Lounge podcast. Man, it's been so long. Let me try that one more time. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always, Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. How's it going, guys?
Doing
Going
good.
well, doing well. How about
We're
yourself?
all out
It's
of
been
practice.
it's been a little while there, so I'm a little out of practice with everything. So yeah, it took me a while to remember how to set everything up again, and it was all that.
You,
But
you
hey, we're
did
all still
better than
alive, and
me, all
that's
things
important.
considered. I forget my intro after 24 hours.
Well, I mean, it has been. Well, it's been almost what, a month? Over a month? What did we
It's
decide?
been over
I
a
think
month.
it's a
Roughly,
month and a
yeah.
half ish.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
month and a
Close
half ish,
to it.
something like
the last
that.
show we did was the E3 show. We've just been busy with a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
summer gets crazy. And
yeah. We decided to take a little summer break, whatever you want to call it, because I was out of town we were on vacation for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days, and then I was out of town for work a couple days and on a couple Sundays, and it was like, and then some other things happened. It was like, you know what, we'll just say we're on a month break and and call it a day. So, and that's okay.
and
It's all right to do
and it
that every
worked
once in a
out.
while. I haven't done
Yeah,
that in a long
yeah.
time. So, but we're back now. Everything's cool, and we should have tons and tons of games to talk about. So, I don't know who wants to go first. Nathaniel, you want to go ahead and go first?
Sure, I've had a lot of different ones I've played a lot of since we last recorded.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we'll go back a little bit because right at E3 time, Cadence of Hyrule came out
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch. That game is awesome.
Yeah, I picked that one up too.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the dance or the Tomb of the Necro Dancer, like people making
Mm-hmm.
a Zelda game. So it has kind of the grid-based move on the beat kind of mechanic to it, but it's not the same type of game as Necro Dancer was. It's very much a Zelda game in the style of like the Super Nintendo. It looks like the Super Nintendo Zelda.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a pretty fun
it's
game. I haven't played a ton of it, but it's pretty fun. What little
Yeah, I
bit of
heard
it I
you.
played.
I heard eventually you can just get pretty powerful and just brute force your way through everything. I was reading a
I
couple
mean, you don't
reviews
even
on it.
need to brute force your way through everything if you're like decently good at going through on the beat. There's also another mode that you can do
I'd have to
where
brute force my way.
it's not on the beat, where you can go and like every time you move, then it's like kind of progressing it forward.
Hmm.
So if you can kind of do it a little more strategic that way. I haven't actually tried it because I like the actual on the beat. The music in that game is so good, like all the Zelda remixes.
Yeah. It really
It's-
is.
Oh man, the soundtrack is great. That's part of why that game is so much fun too.
Yeah. I wish. I don't know. I don't know. Have they ever put out the soundtrack to where you could download it or buy it? Or
I don't know. I'm
I'll
not
have to
sure.
look at that. I don't know.
They should if they have.
Yeah, they should if they have it.
Really good.
I could listen to
But
that
yeah, you've
just on
got
its
like
own.
4 different bosses that you can do in any order in the dungeons, leading up to them, and then you can go up to the Hyrule Castle and defeat the big bad guys. So
It's kind of
it's
cool. I'm
not
gonna
a
have to give that.
super
I'm
duper
be
long
interested in
game,
that. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
try it out.
but it's really really fun. Definitely worth playing, especially if you like Zelda at all. Definitely
Well,
worth
I
picking
do
up.
like Zelda.
Yeah.
I do like
Yeah.
that kind of art style. So I think we're going in the
Yeah.
right direction.
The demo just came out apparently a couple days ago. So
Yeah.
there's a demo now for people who haven't tried it. Like me, I haven't tried it yet. So I downloaded it, but I haven't even played the demo yet. But
Try it out. See what
I think
it's
it's
like.
smart.
Yeah, the demo is a good thing, and
Demos are a good way to sell 'em.
it's worth trying out for sure.
There we
So,
go.
I know a lot of people don't like that rhythm kind of thing to it, but I do. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it's definitely
I
worth
really
trying
like
it out. See it. Yeah, I do too. I really liked it too. So
I
You
love
can
rhythm
have,
games
like, the
in
other
general.
modes in there too.
yeah,
My big thing is that isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but even Crypt of the Necro Dancer, wasn't it like a roguelite of some sort? Or no?
Crypt of the Necrodancer is a roguelite. This is
Yeah,
not
it is.
really.
Oh, this isn't. Okay, thank God. All right, cool. Because I can't do roguelites,
So
man. I
you
like
can
to have
play
a sense
as
of progression.
you can play as Link. You can play as Zelda. You can play as there's a character from Necrodancer that's in this, basically falls into the Hyrule dimension or whatever is kind of how they're selling it, like hand wave. You're like, oh hey, yeah, this is why this looks like this other thing. So you can play as her eventually. I can't remember her name. She's the one with the shovel. But yeah, it does bring in some of the Necrodancer mechanics, like digging through walls with shovels and things break.
Yeah, and you
have
get some
different
cool
kinds of
like
tools.
Zelda items, right? Like there's some
Mm.
cool, interesting things.
Yeah.
Like
So you have like
the
bombs, you have different things like swords and spears and weapons that you
yeah,
can
that's
use.
kind
They
of
all
neat.
have different ranges and damage. You can get different, like 2 or 3 different levels of quality of said weapons. So, yeah, depending on what way you like to attack enemies, you just pick one of them and run with it pretty much after the first little bit.
Right.
The thing that's cool about it too is it's all randomly generated on how it arranges the overworld map.
Hmm.
So everybody's map will look a little bit different. Like Hyrule Castle will still be kind of in a similar place, but everything else surrounding it will be in different places, kind of like the different biomes and areas, like the desert or the beachfront and all that stuff is in different areas kind of every time you start a new game, I think.
Yeah, I've played it just a little bit, not just enough to go. All right, it's a cool game. I definitely want to play it. I just haven't.
Enough to dabble in it and say, "I'll be back."
Yeah, and I'll be back. But I bought it.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy it day one because I wanted to support the game. But
Speaking of art style, I've been dabbling in Yoshi's Crafted World
yeah,
because
that's
I bought
good.
it way back when it came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I should play some of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
That's been on my list. I got to pick that game up. I really like that art style.
It's a cute game.
Yeah,
Oh
it is.
yeah, it looks really, really nice. That's the part. The fun of it is a similar thing with all the other kind of crafted type world games they've done in the past. Is all that's art style is part of the charm. It's not necessarily difficult or anything. It's just fun to go through it.
But Woolly World especially was beautiful to look at, just because like it was kind of like, for me it was similar to Paper Mario Color Splash, where it's like, say what you want about the game, but it almost like kind of transcended graphics, where it's just like it legit looked like I was looking at paper. And same thing in Woolly World was like I looked like I was just looking at wool, and they just threw Yoshi in there basically.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, this one's all like paper and cardboard and string and stuff like that. So
Right.
you get to pick what color Yoshi you want to be.
Yeah.
So you have like different, I forget how many different ones you can choose from, and then you can go back and change later if you want. But, so I've gone through, I forget how many different worlds, probably about 3 or 4 different kind of world sets, which is about 3 or 4 levels each. And there's several more to go. I've collected one of the weird crystal shard thingies you're getting out of, I think, 5 or 6, something like that. So there's still plenty left to go. But yeah, it's not a difficult game. It's just
it's a very fun, relaxing game to play.
It's like I'll play it for like half an hour to an hour or something, just sitting on the couch and like, okay, I've had a little bit of fun with that, and come back to it later. It's not one you're gonna sit and just binge for forever.
Exactly.
Let's see. I was playing kind of around E3 time, a little after something. I got in the mood to play Witcher 3.
Yeah, I remember you said
the cyberpunk stuff. So I've played a bunch of that back then, and I stopped playing it because I've been playing other stuff. But I got pretty deep into that game again, and then branching off of that, I because it was on sale at some point, I bought Thronebreaker, which is their spin-off RPG single-player thing that's Gwent card battles. It's not the Gwent standalone game. It's different from that. It's about a 30-40 hour RPG.
Yeah, I was kind of interested in that at one time. I think I'm gonna have to check it out if it goes on. Well, I'm sure it'll go on sale on a regular basis.
And saying that it's Gwent is kind of reducing it because it's all different every single encounter. Because
it's like the cards are incorporated.
It's different than the Gwent from Witcher 3 or even like the standalone one. So you have like 2 rows instead of 3, and then you have all these different cards that have different abilities for when you put them down that do different things to attack the other ones. And some things trigger an ability of your card. So if like the enemy does something, then you'll like fire at one of them, or you have your leader character that they have special ability that they can do something and that will do a thing. They also have just special encounters that have their own rule just for that one, and they do a really good job of mixing things up, and it's got a really nice kind of illustrated, hand-drawn kind of art style to it.
And how long is it? Is it more?
About 30. I spent about 30, 40 hours in it. Something like that. It's pretty deep.
That sounds like a big
you have different choices. You have like different things. So like all the encounters and stuff are all with like the actual cards. You have kind of an overworld map that you're wandering around, that you kind of sort of do quests and side quests. It's not exactly that way. It's kind of like you have a main path that you can tell always which way you're supposed to go because it's kind of paved. And then anything that's off to the side is not. And so you can find all sorts of little things here and there. And when you're wandering around, you can pick up resources and stuff, which you use to craft new cards or do other things with. And then you have different characters that join you and then leave you throughout, depending on what choices you make. And it impacts you because they each have like a card associated with them. So if they leave you, then you can't use that card anymore if it's one of the ones you have like heavily in your deck that you use all the time. And yeah, like it's got a really good story. You have Geralt shows up for one encounter, even though he's in the main art of the game. And you're not playing at him. He just sort of is in that one encounter. And if you've read
pictures
the books,
on the box, buy this, you don't get to play as, and everyone's like, oh yeah.
It's basically reenacting a thing that happens in one of the stories in the Witcher books, one of the short stories, cool. Where he gets the name Geralt of Rivia, basically.
Yeah. Check out those books too,
or at least officially, because I think he's going by that name before then. But the character in Thronebreaker you're playing is the Queen of Rivia.
That's cool.
So it's a really cool story. If you like the Witcher universe, it's definitely worth playing.
Yeah. I need to check out the books before the Netflix series starts because I've never read any of the books. I played the game and I've read some of the comics, which were pretty much the game. The series is
supposed to be sort of adapting the books.
Yeah.
Which the books, the whole set of like the short story collections and then the 5 novels together all like kind of happen, and then the video games are after that. They're kind of like a sequel series to the book, basically. I can't wait for that Netflix series. That trailer that came out looks really good.
Yeah, it really does.
Surprisingly good, yeah.
Yeah, I was
like,
surprised how good.
There's a few little things in there. I was like, "Ooh, I recognize that from the book." But most of it is just kind of sizzle trailer stuff.
Right.
I'll be interested to see exactly what they're doing, because I think they're doing a lot of the short stories, but they're not just doing some of the short story stuff and mixing it together. They might be throwing in some of the novel things. Who knows? We'll find out. There's plenty of material for them to pull from if the season does well and they do more of them.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I hope so, too.
Let's see. What else have I been playing? Okay, other than that, I've been playing a crap ton of Metal Gear Solid 5. Because I'd never played it before. It went on sale.
You're playing Ground Zeroes, which is the one before Phantom Pain, right?
I played through Ground Zeroes one run. I didn't do a bunch of runs for it. I just did one run so I could bring my save into Phantom Pain with whatever stuff that got me.
I liked Phantom Pain. I got a pretty good deal on it when it first came out, and I just lost interest after, I don't know, like 10 hours. It just wasn't, I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe it just wasn't for me, but I like the game. Like, I like the concept, and I was interested in it, but it just didn't hold my attention.
I definitely think
I suck at stealth games. That's why.
Well, yeah,
maybe.
For me personally, as a huge Metal Gear fan, I thought it was definitely one of. I mean, as a standalone game, it was fine, but when you compare it to the rest of the Metal Gears, it was definitely, to me, very weak. Still a solid game, but
than any of the other ones too.
Yeah.
It's doing its own thing. I've
it's
enjoyed
got
it a lot.
open world-ish more than the others.
Let's see, 86 hours Steam says I've played Phantom Pain to this point.
And 4 was the first one I ever played, and I barely knew anything about the franchise. I jumped in and played 4, and I'm like, all right, now I see where people like this franchise, but I have no idea who most of these characters are. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah, it's a deep-rooted story, and it's so funny because
I've read up on the stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. Because Kojima time and time again will be like, yeah, it's not supposed to be complicated. It's like, well, sir, you kind of,
it is.
You might want to go back to the drawing board on that, because it's, I mean, you go to the wiki page and it's just, I mean, you're scoring for days, even weeks. So
yeah, Phantom Pain is a really, really weird game, because the first like 3 or 4 hours is this long, weird, crazy intro. And then you go into like kind of the main part of the game, and you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again, where it's like, hey, go out here, go take over an outpost, rescue a prisoner, or do this or that. But it's all pretty much go into an outpost.
I think it's free on PlayStation Plus, or it was.
It was.
I think I got it. That's how I got it and Grounds.
Yeah, me too.
The beginning of the game is a lot harder than it does. It becomes super easy later on once you get a lot more gadgets and stuff researched and equipped. And companions and things, because you start with the horse and the horses. Other than transportation, useless. You can ride it between bases, but other than that, it's like, yay, good job, horse, way to go.
Yeah, you did a thing. Good job.
I've used Quiet the most, just because having a sniper to cover you is very useful, but also D-Dog is fun too.
Yeah.
I've never used the you get like a little walker mech that you can use as like a buddy companion.
Yeah, I only ever
Never
used the
used it.
sniper.
Yeah. So I'm fairly close to the end of the game, I think, from what I understand, because I'm like in the early 40, like 42 or 3 or something's the last mission I did. So at least I'm getting closer. But that's part of my problem with the game is the story is terrible. It doesn't make sense within itself, mission to mission. Characters do one thing one time, a mission or two later, they're doing something different. Or they're like, hey, we're going to blame you for this when really it was me doing this. And it's just like, oh, God, come on. What are you even doing? Or then there's just these random cutscenes that are like, what's the point of that? Like, okay, fun. Big boss and quieter dancing in the rain. Fun, cool. Why did you interrupt my mission for that?
That's weird.
But like the gameplay is really, really fun. And the whole Fulton extraction thing where you just like tie balloons to people and yank them into the sky never, ever, ever gets old. I think if they didn't have that, that game wouldn't have been nearly as much fun.
Yeah.
They have some other weird little things you can get, like a water pistol and other like later unlocks you can get that are kind of cool. But
so what's the water pistol supposed to do? Sort of like a distraction or just novelty gun?
I haven't used it. I don't know. I saw that I couldn't unlock it. I never researched it yet. But yeah, I spent a lot of time just doing like side stuff and then went back and doing missions and back and forth. So I really like the mechanics of it. It's fun sneaking into bases, but the story is just like, no, that doesn't make sense. You're like doing one thing in your tape recording over here that we're listening to, and then like over here in this cutscene you're doing something completely different. These don't go together. And then it does this weird thing where like 70 hours in, chapter 1 ended and chapter 2 starts. I'm like, wait, really? I've spent this much in the game and it's like start of chapter 2. Even that felt like the end of a game. It's just like, Kojima, you need to stop.
Well, I mean, I guess he did.
Because it's like this whole story arc where you're going through this thing and you have this bad guy that you see kind of at the beginning of the skull face guy. And then you go through kind of that whole thing and that whole storyline kind of mostly ties up. And oh, by the way, we're going to keep going. And you're like, wait, really? Okay, sure.
All right.
Games like that really bother me when they just keep going. I'm just like, you could finish this and had a great, solid, game there. But then now you're drawing it out, and then now I'm just losing interest, and then now it's kind of affecting the overall quality of the game for me personally.
Yeah. I can see
and
that.
then it has all the weird online stuff that ties into it too that I just like pretty much just ignoring.
People going into your mother base and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just like that, and then also just all of the away missions you can send your soldiers on when some are online.
Is the online play still supported? I mean, is there still people playing?
Yeah, servers are still on.
Yeah,
I have no idea if people are doing it or not, but the servers are on because it connects every time I boot up the game.
Yeah, so last I heard it was. I mean, I don't know if, like you say, I don't know if everybody's playing, but it is there.
So I'm just trying to finish it so I can buy the other game that I bought on sale when Steam had their sale back in like late June or something. Because I bought 2 big games and I've been playing Metal Gear, and now I can move on to the other one after that. Because I know if I move on now, I'll never come back. So finish it up since I think I should be close to the end by now. You'd hope.
Yeah, as long as you've been playing, I would hope it'd be about that. So, who knows?
Or you're going to be like me, where you leave the game, come back to it a year or two later, and find out you were like an hour away from the end. You're like, why didn't I just finish it? I can name like 4 examples in the last 2 years where it's like, okay.
Gee,
I don't remember what the story's about.
I sure am glad that I wasted all that hour to finish that game. It's like, I could have done it a year ago.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I'm like, this is it? I had like one more mission?
Yeah.
All right, well, why'd I put this off? I don't know.
Well, now it's time to move on to something else. Oh, wait.
I'm trying to remember a game that happened to me recently with, because I know it did. But
I think Prey, I'm like maybe an hour or 2 from the end. I just got to circle back around to it.
I can't think of it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, Prey is pretty obvious when you're close to the end, or at least the real end. There's a secret ending or 2 that you can find early, but
the
real ending, it's like, oh hey, I can tell this is the last mission coming up.
Does that end anything else? Did you miss anything? I was looking at your list
No, I
here.
think
Nope.
I've gotten through all of it. Yeah.
I haven't played too much. I did. Ended up when we were going to Florida, we stopped at our buddy's house in North Carolina. I ended up buying him a copy of the Division 2 while it was on sale for $20. And I said, when I get back, we're going to play this together. So that's what we've been doing the past couple nights. Was playing
How
it.
far are you?
Not very. I mean, I think I'm level 15 or something like that. We're not very.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's even better at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I like the setting a little better. He likes New York a little better. I like this one a little better, but I know more about DC than I do New York. That's the only reason why I like the DC setting better. But I mean, so far it's a pretty cool game. But I like the Division 1. So if you like the Division 1, the Division 2 is definitely a good one to pick up. I played. I got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch when it came out. It's
on my list.
It's a really fun game. It is really cool. It's just like the other ones, except
I have the first two, but I think I got like halfway through them, and I think I lost interest in the first one just because of the age and the way it played.
Yeah,
because this is a couple years ago. But I like the concept overall, so I know I'd like 3.
We played. I got 1 and 2 when they came out on the 360, and we played through them co-op online with some friends. Both of them, I'm sure. I know we did the 1. I don't know about the 2, but I know we definitely did 1. And we had a blast doing that. Was it the X-Men one on GameCube? I think still kind of a little better than Alliance. I forget what it's called. Was it X-Men? It's been so long.
X-Men Legends.
Legends, yeah, that's it. I was gonna say it's been so long since I played it, I couldn't remember what it's called.
I think the pickups and like gear is better than. Sorry, I have a cracker in my mouth. I think the gear and the pickup is better in X-Men Legends than is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think so. If I remember, it's been a while since I played it, and I don't have a copy on GameCube to go back and compare it to.
Yeah.
I used to, but I think I played it when I was working at GameStop, so I didn't actually buy it. I think I just borrowed it from the store and played it and then took it back. So,
are there any crummy like C-list Marvel heroes in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? You know, the ones they hardly ever bring into the comics. Like, here you go. Here's some.
Not really. I haven't
Avengers that you haven't seen in 40 years.
Yeah, no, and I haven't even. I've maybe played it. I don't know, 5 or 6 hours, and I haven't unlocked everybody yet. So.
As long as they got Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah, well, they got Wolverine. I haven't unlocked Deadpool yet.
Deadpool.
Ghost Rider's in there.
Ghost Rider.
I mean, there's a lot of the popular ones, but there's a lot of
like the
B and
ones
C,
too.
characters.
Makes it a little bit interesting, even if they aren't that much fun. It's kind of cool that they're
Yeah, and then there's all the ones that are coming with the DLC. There's the Marvel Knights guys like Blade and all that. If you want to, pay $20 extra to get all 3 of the download packs and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I guess more characters is interesting. They've added more to the game, like
and I'm not sure they haven't said if it's more levels or anything like that. I know it's characters and stuff like that, so they're liable to have add more single player or more.
Have you tried the online play?
Nope, I haven't because nobody else has it. So
well, I will be getting it soon.
Yeah,
I would like it at some point.
Yeah, when somebody gets it, we will play it. But as of now, nobody has it. I thought about getting it for Nick, but I don't know if she would care for it. She likes Diablo, but when you've got 4 players at once to contend with, I don't think she would be too into it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know what game got me into that genre though? That kind of like 4 people on screen at once, dungeon crawling. That kind of like top-down viewish kind of thing. Is a very old game back on PS2. I think was what exposed me to it. Was Champions of Norath.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you guys remember that at all. Which I think EverQuest spinoff. I don't know. It was okay.
Yeah, there was 2 different ones. There was an EverQuest one, and then there was some that were like Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't remember which ones were which. I don't remember. I want to say
called Arms or something.
Something I can't. It's been so long. I remember them. I'd have to look it up, but I remember when they came out, but I know there was some that were associated with EverQuest, and then there was a couple that were associated with Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't remember. Baldur's Gate, I think. Was it Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, Dark Alliance.
Yeah,
was
Dark
just-
Alliance.
Deadly Alliance.
Deadly Alliance. No,
Deadly Alliance.
Deadly
Yeah.
Alliance. Yeah, and there was
Those are good
those two,
games.
and those were kind of the same.
There's the Fallout one too, which is kind of isometric, Brotherhood of Steel, but I don't think you have a party in that. Or
No,
maybe
it's
you do.
just it's like
Same
classic.
solo. Yeah.
Classic play. Sounds pretty good. The other game that I've been playing is Graveyard Keeper. If you have Xbox Live Game Pass, if you have an Xbox Game Pass, it's actually free on there. But I've
It's
ended
on
up,
Game Pass.
yeah, it's on Game Pass.
I didn't know that. My friend does not stop talking about that game. I'm gonna download.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I don't know if it's on PC. I know it's on the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, it's on PC before.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's on the Xbox or the Game Pass on the PC side.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's on PC.
I haven't looked.
I don't
at
think
it.
it is.
I know it's on.
It's
on
been
the
on
console.
Steam for a while.
Yeah, and I ended up picking it up on Switch because it kind of felt better playing it on Switch because you could go handheld with it. It kind of felt like the best way to describe that game. It's like Stardew Valley or what's the other one? Harvest Moon or something like that. Except you're
That's
a graveyard
definitely how
keeper.
they sold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that game first came out, it was like, hey, it's Stardew Valley but with graves.
Yeah, it kind of
Zombies.
is. I mean, there's a lot about the game that there's some things about the game I don't like, and there's some others I do. It's because it's a little. You have characters when you meet characters, they'll give you quests, and you don't really have a journal that says, here's your quest that you got to do, blah 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 blah. You got to go into that character's met screen and look at all the characters and say, okay, I've got a quest for this dude, I've got a quest for this dude, a quest for this dude. It doesn't highlight it anywhere. It just kind of says you kind of need to go over in this area and find this. It's like, well, why didn't you? At first, when it starts out, it kind of holds your hand for a second, but then when it immediately cuts, when it immediately just drops your hand and goes, okay, here you go. You're like, oh, okay. Well, how do I do this? How do I do that? With not a lot of explanation. But once you figure it out, once you start figuring out things, it's a really, really cool game. It is really fun because the whole premise of the game is you're a guy on your cell phone, you get hit by a car and you die. Well, you guess you die. You wake up in like this medieval countryside and you're the keeper of a cemetery. And once you get your cemetery cleaned up and up to a certain number, the bishop makes you the clergy of the church. So then you have every Sunday you have to have people come to your church and you say a prayer and this and that. And you build your church up and your graveyard. But what's funny about it is you can take body parts from different things. You could take their skulls, you could take their hearts, you could cut their meat off of them, and once you get a stamp, you can stamp that meat as real meat and then sell it to the innkeeper as meat. But it's really dead human flesh. So
Cadaver flesh.
Yeah. So
I'd like some steak, please.
the more you cut up the body and take things like its skin and stuff like that, the more points your grave loses. So you always want to try to keep it in the 0 or above to keep your graveyard score high, because that'll progress the game. So you're constantly having to build new tombstones or fix little things around the grave or stuff like that. But you also got other things where, I'm mining this. I need to make pottery for this dude. So I've got to go figure out how to make clay and get water out of the well and mix it together. And then I got to build a stove so I can harden it. And I've got to, it's really, really fun. I played it more this week than I've played anything, I think. But to me, it was a lot better game on the Switch because of the portability aspect of it. But it does. It's 16-bitty. It feels very Stardew Valley-ish with things. I mean, I use the term "it's like Stardew Valley" loosely. I mean, it does have that Stardew Valley feel, but it's very morbid and and darker than that is. I mean, you don't even have to bury the body. You could just take it over and throw it in the river if you want. You got like a talking skull. He's always like, he doesn't have a memory. He doesn't know this or that. He's like, but go get me a beer. And then once you figure out how to unlock things to get the bartender to sell you a beer, then he wants you to bring him wine or something like that. And he's like, I didn't like so-and-so. He's not happy in that cemetery. Dig him up and throw him in the river. Okay. So you dig him up and throw him in the river and bury somebody else in his place. I mean, it's so weird, but it's very satisfying at the same time of the game is. I don't know. It's really, really cool. And like I say, it's if you've got Game Pass and you got an Xbox, download it and play it. It is totally worth it. It is a really, really cool game. And it's like $20 on Switch if you want to get it on Switch. And I'm sure it's probably even cheaper than that on PC because it's been out on PC for a while. So it came out there first. But that's all I've been playing. I haven't been playing a ton. Dennis, what have you been playing? Anything? Well, I played some Mario Maker.
Right.
I did play that.
Well, I grew up with Mario. You know, I'm a big Mario fan. Mario 64 is my favorite game of all time, and you know, having this endless Mario experience to me is just it's all I could really ask for, really. And Mario Maker 1 on Wii U was fantastic, but this one really is something else. And yeah, it's just been great, you know, getting back into the Mario Maker community and talking to everybody, and everybody, you know, kind of exchanging their levels and seeing so many types of levels. There's puzzle levels, just relaxing or themed even, because that's a thing now. You know,
Right.
I've seen so many levels based off of Ocarina of Time that have been phenomenal. People are like, you know, using all the assets to create what looks like a Deku tree, you know, using, you know, ice blocks for eyes and, you know, the door to kind of enter the Deku tree like you would in Ocarina of Time and stuff like that. It's so cool, so creative, and music levels as well. And yeah, it's fantastic. And I keep saying that I think it makes me think that, like, every time I play Mario Maker, it never fails to pass through my mind that I still don't understand why Nintendo chose to port New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe over, because now that game, to me especially, is obsolete with this out.
Right.
So I feel like 3D World would have been the better option, especially since that game, I mean, is stunning and fantastic. Because you have 3D World in Mario Maker, but it's only a side-scrolling aspect of it, right? 3D World was so much more than that. You could go in, and there was a Z axis as well, you know. So
they need a Mario game for next year.
True. Gotta have at least one a year, or more like 5 a year. Really, you got Mario and Sonic coming out later as well.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Which I'm just like stupid excited for that. I don't know why. I didn't like. I've never played any of the other ones, but there's something about this one. I guess because I was so let down with Mario Party. I just want a solid like game that has, you know, that's about mini games, you know, and has a great cast of characters. And I think that's why I'm looking forward to this. And it's on Switch. So. But yeah, a lot of Mario Maker still. But outside of that, I Fire Emblem. I can't stop at the Fire Emblem as well.
I've picked it up, but I have not. I got the collector's edition. I opened it up, popped it in, did the update, and that's all I've done. I haven't done anything else yet, because I know that game will probably take my soul. So I'm kind of.
It will. It will. And I'm not gonna lie. Like at first, like I was a little worried.
Busy.
Yeah, because at first, like the first 2 or 3 hours, I was like, man, I'm kind of, I wasn't really feeling it, you know. Yeah. But then something just happens where it just clicks, and the next thing you know, you can't put it down, and you're just like, oh, where'd the day go? You know, it's one of those games. But yeah, I got the collector's edition as well. That steelbook is stunning.
Yeah, that's one of the best steelbooks I have seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I was actually shocked that, like, when I took everything apart, you know, the steelbook, the plus they come with a calendar,
the soundtrack, and an art book. And that art book is like, I mean, it's not a small art book. It is a book, coffee table book.
Right. When I got my package, I was just like, why is this so heavy?
Yeah.
Like, I did not expect it to be so heavy. Like, it's like surprisingly heavy. And then, like, when I took it out, you know, I was just like, oh, this is where the weight comes from. It's this thick
it's like
art book. Yeah, it's insane. But wow, no, I mean, the presentation of that collector's edition is probably one of the best I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I like the texture of the box. It's got that weird, I don't know what to call it. It's texture.
Yeah, it's almost like an emboss, almost. You know, got that kind of like gold. The gold section, anyways, a lot smoother than the cardboard section, and it was it's beautiful. But I cannot stop. There's something about that game I don't understand. There's something satisfying about the constant. Just the progression feels really good. The pacing's great, and it's, if you want a solid Harry Potter game, get Fire Emblem. because the overworld is pretty much Hogwarts, and it's you have the different classes as well, but rather than Slytherin and all of them, now you have Black Eagles, Golden Deer, and Blue Lions, and it's just so cool. It's such a great story, and everyone has a different experience too. And I think that's been a favorite part of mine is when people come in. When I'm streaming Mario Maker, we'll occasionally talk about Fire Emblem, and when people come in, everyone has a different experience. Even if we're on the same in the same house, like I know someone else is in Black Eagles as well, but because of the interactions that they choose to have, people who they prioritize over others, that affects the story as well. And
Right.
it's almost like a choose your own adventure game, but I mean, obviously with a lot more elaborate and
Right.
rather than being something like Telltale or any Quantic Dream game where it's just like all right, hit A to respond or something. It's a lot more fleshed out. It is a strategy RPG at the end of the day. Like your Final Fantasy Tactics and your Devil Survivors and stuff like that. But yeah, no, there's something about that game that is it's stunning. Now, my only worry is I'm really trying to beat it by the time Astral Chain comes out,
Yeah.
because that's my next big exciting game for me.
That's just what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, end of August,
That
August
comes about the same
30th
time.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the game I'm looking
which
forward to.
What was that, Nathaniel?
Control comes out about the same time too.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
That's interesting.
yeah, my big issue is 3 days before that for me. The physical edition of Collection of Mana comes out, so I'm like, oh god. So a lot of hours there.
Yeah.
But no, Astral Chains. I'm just trying to beat it by that because I know the moment Astral Chain comes out, I'm going to be too into that, and then depending on how long I spend on that, if I don't finish Fire Emblem, if I try to go back, you know how it is with RPGs, you kind of get lost. Yeah, so.
And that's the whole reason why I hadn't started it yet. Is because I know I want to finish this, and I've been playing Division 2 with a buddy. So it's like I don't want to start it and then have to set it down and then get distracted by something else and then come back in 2 months and be like, crap, I don't remember who to what.
Right.
Where.
And Fire Emblem is a deep game. That's not a game I think you want to come back to later on.
Yeah.
You may as well start the thing over.
Yeah. And that'll never happen. It'll just be like, well, I'll set it on the shelf in a couple of years. I'll start it over again. Yeah.
Right.
But all right, so Eric, what have you been playing? Anything?
I got the monster list.
Yeah, you got a big
So
list.
let's see. Let's start with, you know what? Let's make this interesting. I'll work backwards. Oldest to newest. Here we go. So I finally finished Streets of Rage 3. I know something's weird with me. I've actually never beat the last level, or I actually never been to it.
Yeah.
And part of another podcast backlog challenge. I picked a few games from my backlog, and this was one of them. And I hadn't actually played it in a couple years because when I had my Retron 5, Streets of Rage 3 doesn't work right on it for some reason. Regular controller or the Retron 5 controller, your character just like sits in the corner and spams their regular attack.
Huh. I never tried it, so I don't know.
It might be like anyway, fired up the Model 2, plugged that bad boy in, and went through it. I had to admit, though, I decided I want to play as the kangaroo, so that was kind of fun. I had to go look up how to unlock him again, so that was interesting. It was good times. I actually recently picked up, again, LA Machine Guns and Gunblade New York. It's an arcade shooter for the Wii. It's a big arcade machine. I've only ever played it once in the arcades. It's fine for the Wii. Nothing special. It's just you're just blasting all sorts of things with computer graphics full of polygons. So as part of the backlog challenge, Assassin's Creed Rogue. I've had this game for years, and I want to see what it's like. And I played a couple hours. It reminds me a lot of Black Flag with the ship combat and stuff. I'm kind of interested in it, but I can also see that it's a real big time sink.
Yeah, I started to play it right after playing Black Flag, and I kind of stopped playing it. And then they reissue it on PS4 or something like that. And I thought about maybe picking it up again, but I never did. It's kind of like, well, now after I've played Assassin's Creed or Odyssey and stuff like that, it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's hard to go back to another Assassin's Creed because they changed so much, and it feels better this way than it does this way, and it's it's kind of hard for me to remove myself from it.
Yeah, you're like, oh wait, it feels like an Assassin's Creed game from several years ago.
Yeah,
but it's I'll probably play some more of it. I really like Black Flag, so I would like to try to play a little bit more of Rogue. X-Men Origins Wolverine has been in my backlog for a bit. I was trying to pick between this and Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and someone
You should have
had
picked
recommended
Shattered Dimensions.
I don't know.
Oh
Someone
my
recommended
God.
this game, and
Really?
yeah, I thought it was. It's nothing. If you just take it as like its face value as a brawler, that's fine. It reminds me a lot of Deadpool.
Yeah.
I played it
I'll
for a
give
couple
you that.
hours, but other than that, there's no depth to it really.
No, none at
In fact,
all.
I got stuck and I got mad because at one point I was like, ugh, stupid controls. It takes so long to load on the PS3. But yeah,
I remember when that game came out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna be awesome!" But rather than that, I played it, I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
and I played the PS2 version as well, like several years ago, and that's terrible.
Yeah, that one's bad too.
It's really bad.
I may have more memories of the PS2 version in my brain than I do the PS3 version.
I mean, this isn't great. It definitely is dated.
Yeah.
I mean, Assassin's Creed Rogue still looks pretty good, but X-Men Origins Wolverine is. Yeah, you can definitely see it's a last gen game.
Yeah.
I got Travis Strikes Again for the Switch.
I like
My local GameStop was clearancing it for $18. I took advantage and used my $5 off coupon. So it's an interesting game. It really wants you to use the Joy-Cons, and I'm like, nope, I'm going to play with my Pro controller. So there's a couple like moves. I mean, they have alternate methods of control. It's not like the other No More Heroes games. It's top. I mean, I've only played it for a couple hours. It's fun. I can see why people don't like it and why the reviews are kind of average. If you can get it on the cheap and you like Suda 51 games, you can get it for under 20. I'd say pick it up.
Yeah, it seems to me like it was just more of a quick game they could throw out there to get the name and people's awareness of it up, so that when they release the next full game, that people might be a little more, there, I know that property.
Yeah, it's been a while since we recorded a show, but I did play some Division 2 probably a month ago with a buddy. We're at the end game. We finished the end game, so now we're playing the extra stuff. And I still want to go back and play more, but it's more fun to play with people than by yourself.
Yeah.
Still I finished Spider-Man 4. Yay, my first platinum. And it was a good game. All the reviews are spot on. Easily top 10 PS. You know what? Top 5 PS4 games of all time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Top 5.
That's good. It's fun.
I like it. I need to finish it, but I like it.
Yeah. I think I probably put 20 or 25 hours into it.
The ending's fantastic. I mean, the whole cinematic experience that it has was easily one of the greatest endings I've seen in an indie game. Period. I mean, it was just the way everything led up to it is fantastic. So, if you do end up getting around to beating it, you'll love it. It's something else.
And I need to. And then I've got all the DLC. I bought the season pass for too, so I've got all the DLC to play through too.
I looked at that too. I think I will pick up that down the road if there's a little bit of a price drop.
I think they made the right choice with that game too, making its own thing rather than trying to tie it into the MCU or other movies or any other Spider-Man thing. Just let it be its own thing, and it worked really well.
Yeah,
I agree. I played some more. I haven't played Battlefield 5 in a while, but there's usually a few of us that try to play every couple of weeks on Wednesday or Thursday for a couple of hours. And it's fun to play with people, but we've talked about that before. So the most interesting game is Ion Fury. We got a review code for this. It is published by 3D Realms, and it is a super small. The whole download for it was 60 megabytes on Steam. So it is an FPS built in the style of a 90s FPS. So think Duke Nukem 3D.
And it's still even that low, man.
It's pretty good. It's I know in the previous last year and stuff like that, I talked about how sometimes when I play FPS I get nauseous. Yeah, this made me nauseous, but it's still fun. Yeah, it's just run and gun. There's not much to the story, but there's cool secrets to find and fun weapons, and you got to play with the keyboard and mouse. I tried both the controller and a keyboard and mouse, and keyboard and mouse is where it's at.
Yeah, it looked like a cool little game. So it looked pretty interesting.
Super gory too, but it was entertaining. I'll definitely try to finish it. Actually, I beat. There's 4 little chunks of it, and I beat one of it, 1.5 of it this afternoon. So got some time with that. Yeah. But that's it. I've been playing a lot of stuff for a while. Mid-June, I didn't play hardly anything, but kind of just getting back on playing a few things, and I'll just keep playing stuff.
Yeah, well, it's I took my Switch to Florida with us, but I think I bought Mario Maker and I played it for a little while. And the only reason I bought Mario Maker was because Target had a lunchbox, so I was like, well, if you buy the game, I was like, well, I gotta have the lunchbox, so I'll go ahead and buy the game. And but what I liked about Mario Maker was too is not only can you do the download levels, but this one has a single player option, which is fantastic too. So, if you're not, I don't make anything. I just play everybody else's made stuff, and I play the single player game. But yeah, it's like I haven't played a ton, and now that we're playing the Division, it's like, well, we're up till 3:00 in the morning when we're not working and playing Division for 6 or 7 hours. So it's like, whoop, there goes that. Any game time for anything else. So, because he's trying to power through, I forget what game it is. He's wanting to beat it before. He's wanting to beat this one before it comes out. Golly, what game is it that's coming out? Oh, Borderlands. He's a big loot and shoot, so he wants to get everything done before Borderlands comes out. Because he'll sink about 100 hours in it. I've never seen anybody play a Borderlands game like he does. He's a Borderlands fool.
Yeah, to be fair, Borderlands 2, you could play almost that's how long it takes to go through the stupid story. It's a super long game.
Yeah, he's played it twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how much of a fool he is for Borderlands. He played it twice. Back to back twice. So, and when they had it for free, when they had the collection or whatever they had for free on PlayStation Plus, he was like, "Hey, you want to play it again?" I'm like, "No, I don't."
Was that the Handsome Jack collection?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I could go back and play the second one, but I've never actually beat the pre-sequel, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I've thought a couple times about buying it on VR just to try it on that, but it's never been cheap enough for me just to buy, just to play for a little while in VR. I'm not going to pay $40 for something I maybe will play 6 or 7 hours that I've played 100 hours before, and it's like, oh yeah, VR, awesome, okay. All right, well, let's get into the news real quick because there has been a few things that's happened while we were gone. So I kind of went all over the place. There is a new Nintendo Switch Lite coming in September. Pre-orders are already available on Amazon and GameStop and all those other sites. $199. It's available in 3 colors: yellow, gray, and turquoise. It's smaller, lighter than a Switch. It has a 5.5-inch touchscreen. The controllers are integrated, so it has a D-pad on the left-hand side, which is kind of cool because you don't need to take the Joy-Cons off to play with people, so you don't have to have that. So it lacks a lot of things. It lacks HD Rumble. It lacks the IR motion camera. It doesn't have the ability to dock to the television as well, they say. I'm wondering if you could buy one of these these USB-C to HDMI things, and
right.
I would highly doubt it because that would have to be connected on the board inside of it.
Yeah,
they could connect it as just power charging and have still be USB-C, and it's not connected to the video output.
That's true. And they could. That's probably the way it is. It looks very, very cool. If this was available when I bought the Switch for Nikki, I probably would have went with this one for her because she never plays hers on the television at all. She has no desire for a controller. She has no desire to hook it up to the television. She likes to just sit in the living room or lay in bed and play it that way. So, but I could see multiple households having this. I could see people maybe who I know there are some people that's getting them that have the regular Switch because they would rather take this on the go than they would the regular Switch. So. Not for me. I'm not going to buy it unless I find a deal on it or something for some strange reason. I don't know why. But
my regular Switch is still going strong, so no reason for me to get it.
Right. Well, and they even they've even released I don't remember if I put it in the notes or not. They've even released that's the next story. They've released a updated Switch regular console that has longer battery life by about 2 hours over the current version, and that's really the big quote-unquote selling point. The real selling point is they want to get rid of all the Model 1s because there's a way that you can soft mod them, and there's no way for them to stop it with software. This hardware revision is what fixes that ability to hack your Switch system. So
until someone finds a new hack.
Yeah, someone's gonna find out.
Yeah, there'll be a new hack, but like right now, there is no way for them to stop the way it is. So that's why they've kind of put it out and say, hey, it's got a little bit of extra battery life here. Check it out, guys. But it's like that's
give it
cool.
time. They'll do a real updated Nintendo Switch XL or something in another year or two.
I'm sure. If you've ever had problems with your Joy-Cons drifting, I have not. Has anybody else had any?
I don't use my. Well, I mean, I don't really use mine in tablet mode, but I do use the Joy-Cons. But I haven't really experienced anything. And even my friends who use it tons, play tons of different games, I haven't very much.
I mean,
but Ryan has from the show, from the site. He had some drift on his, right?
Yeah, and then he sent them in and paid to get them repaired or something like that. But now they're fixing them for free, and if you have paid to get it fixed in the past, they are reimbursing you for that too. But
are they drifting because a little rubber piece is degrading or something?
I don't know. I've seen a couple different things, and I've seen people fix it with just spraying WD-40 on it inside the stick and kind of move it around to lubricate it up, and then it works just fine. So I don't know if it's like plastic rubbing on plastic or what it is exactly.
If that's gonna fix it, then it's probably something where it gets sort of stuck, where it's not quite going back to center, and then that's why it's drifting.
I'm wondering if it gets maybe dirt in there. I don't know if
oils or something for your fingers, maybe.
Well, I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed or not, but on on my Xbox, on my PlayStation 4 controllers on the sticks, the plastic kind of rubs against plastic, and I get this weird white ring around it. I can take it and just scratch it off. I wonder if it's something like that, where it's just plastic rubbing against plastic, and it finally just fills in something, and then it drifts this way. I don't know.
It is, from what I've heard, I think that is kind of the consensus. I mean, there's always going to be variables to it, but that is, I mean, they pack so much in such a small space in the Joy-Con, so, and it is the plastic more or less degrading as you use it and spin it in circles and whatnot. So you get all that dust on the inside. So it's ruining the communication between the actual input of the stick towards the motherboard on the inside, so it can send the signal and whatnot. So that's all it is. It's for the most part. But yeah, I actually had to send mine in a couple of days ago, actually. So I experienced my first problem. Yeah, granted, I mean, it's interesting because it was my left blue Joy-Con that had actually, I mean, granted, I got it used last year, but they're doing free repairs now. So, and I have 9 out of the Joy-Con with varying colors. I'm like, just take it. I'm not going to miss it. So just go ahead and take it, get the free repairs. So, but yeah, it's interesting because I've used the Joy-Con a lot, actually. I do have a Pro Controller, but I use the Joy-Con a lot. But still, my gray ones, which are the ones I got day one, are still going strong. No drifting. It was my first issue with drifting, so it was always weird that whenever I heard somebody say 3 months later, they just started drifting, and my Switch started acting up. I was like, unless you're taking this thing to go mining with you or hiking, I don't understand what the issue is and why everyone's having these problems. I think it's user error, really, if anything. But people like to point fingers and.
I mean, I've had my launch ones, which now have purple shells on them. They still work fine. I mean, they work perfect.
Yeah, and you took them apart. So
and I had them taken apart and put back together.
Right.
And I played 120 hours of Zelda with that one.
Right. There you go. Stood up.
I don't know, but I mean, I understand. Maybe it's a lot of the people haven't played are Smash people, where they're just wailing.
Oh, no one's using Joy-Con for Smash.
Surely
Everyone's using Joy-Con.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I wouldn't. That's the only thing. The only game I could think of where I would just be bam, bam on a controller.
Sure.
It's like
sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I use mine in handheld a lot on the road, and I take it with me. And if we go somewhere, like the other day, we went had to take the mother-in-law to the hospital, and it was a 2-hour drive, and it was 2 hours at the hospital and 2 hours back. So the whole time I'm playing the Switch. So I take mine. I probably use mine 75% handheld, 25% in the dock. In fact, I can't tell you the last time I've had it docked.
Yeah, I think it's about 60-40 for me. I want to say 60% handheld, 40% TV mode. So almost
80,
even, but
80-20.
Yeah.
It definitely depends on what game you are playing at the time, because some games work better in one mode than the other.
That's true too. Yeah.
The screen's not big enough; you can't see stuff.
But yeah, if you definitely are having that trouble, absolutely, get it fixed for free. Shoot, while they're offering to do it, do it. I mean,
that's exactly why I was like, okay, here, take it. I mean, the moment it happened, I was just like, all right, well, I'm shipping it off. It cost me nothing. So
yeah, why not? Yeah, get it fixed.
There you go. Might as well get it done.
Xbox One home screen gets another makeover and latest update. I have not got this update yet. I don't know. The last time I had my Xbox on, I did not have this update.
I turned mine on last night. You said I got a new update.
Yeah, it's in the beta, but I'm
not
in
for
that.
Everybody just
in the beta.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the beta, but I've got my system registered in that beta, but they kind of do it in waves, so I haven't seen it yet. It actually looks a lot cleaner. I kind of like it. It reminds me a little bit of the 360-ish, not the one with the blades, but the one kind of after that.
It kind of seems like where the 360 ended up, plus the Xbox One merged together.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of
at least
dig
from
it.
the screenshot.
Yeah, at least from the screenshot, it looks pretty cool. I'll have to power on my Xbox and see if I've got it. I'm interested in checking it out. Anything's better than the launch Xbox One dashboard.
Oh, no, we don't talk about that.
No, we don't talk about that anymore. But there's still little things with the Xbox dashboard that drive me crazy. But we'll see if this takes care of it. But it looks,
from what little I've used it since I got one, and I don't use it all the time. It seems like it's a little overcomplicated because the stuff that you're using all the time you can go to quickly, and then there's all this other stuff that you barely ever go to that's just taking up space.
Yeah. Usually all I do is I just start pinning a bunch of stuff so I can just go boop, oh there it is, bam, but I'm done. If you look at my PlayStation 4 dashboard, it's nothing but folders. I have every game that I have installed on my PlayStation 4 divided up in Sega, third party, first party, VR, everything else, Telltale games. I've got it's just like sometimes it's too much, but but speaking of too much, the final story, Ubisoft reveals its full lineup of games coming to Uplay.
It's a pretty deep list. There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
all of them.
You like Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally over 100 titles will be available on Uplay, from classics all the way to newer stuff. I couldn't read through the list, but it's so long. I'm looking here. Let's see: Assassin's Creed 1, Brotherhood Chronicles,
Magic Heroes,
2, Black Flag
It's like
Odyssey,
more than 100 titles.
Yeah, there's Prince of Persia. There's even Brother in Arms, Earned in Blood. Even that game from the 360 days is on there. Road to Hill 30.
They only have 2 different Anno games on there so far, so they got more.
Oh yeah, they can dig a little deeper in that category there. That's for sure. Looks like they have Far Cry 2 through 5, New Dawn, Primal. Man, that Flashback Origins game, I love that game. That is such a good game. Might and Magic Heroes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
yeah,
6, 7, 8,
Might Magic Heroes 3, that's where it's at. But
are on this list.
Yeah. It's insane the amount of games.
Still not worth it, in my opinion. But
I mean, if you're a Ubisoft player,
so weird though too, because they have a lot of their recent games, especially, are kind of like games as service type games. That why would you then pay on top of that for the service to do a bunch of games when you were just going to be doing one of them?
Yeah,
maybe 2.
$15 a month.
It's $15 a month. If you sign up for the service before August 15th, you'll get access to a trial period that runs from September 3rd to the 30th. Which honestly, I mean, I don't know why you'd need a trial. You either like Ubisoft games or you don't. Unless you've never played a Ubisoft game, which I find that shocking, and I question your life choices. But it's maybe there's somebody out there that haven't. I don't know.
I have the same problem with this as I have with like the EA ones or any just single publisher one. It's like, sure, it's a library, but it's only their games.
Yeah.
And it's very limited versus like an overall like Game Pass or something where
Right.
you have a lot more varied choices.
Right.
I think when it comes to like, this type of service and making it immediately accessible and a user, extremely intuitive and user friendly, Game Pass really, I think, set the bar for, being able to stream and download games. I mean, it really is such a phenomenal thing Xbox and Microsoft have done. So
yeah, I'm telling you, Xbox Ultimate, the Ultimate Game Pass thing is just
right.
It's just the best.
That's right.
It's the best deal. I mean,
100%.
I can play it on my PC. I can play it on my Xbox. I got my gold wrapped up into that, and I mean, and the selections of games is fantastic. If I was buying a console strictly on something like that, I would buy an Xbox and Game Pass. I'd buy an Xbox One X and get Game Pass.
100%.
And buy a PlayStation for the actual better games, but
Well, I mean, the first party.
You do
games.
get third-party games and stuff.
Yeah, I use mine strictly for
first-party
exclusives.
games. Xbox doesn't have the same breadth of stuff. They have a few heavy hitters that are very similar to what they had the last generation because they haven't added as much to it or expanded on it, whereas PlayStation just has way more, and that's why I'm still going to be buying a PlayStation next generation because I want the sequels to those games, and Xbox doesn't have that tie-in.
Yeah, and I'll get a PlayStation 5 first. I'll eventually get a Xbox whatever. I know I will, but
it'll depend on what they both are, what they're offering right at launch, on whether you can get either one of them at launch.
Well, maybe not either. Depending on the price, I may not. That's going to be my whole big thing is price. If they're $500,
what games are out to start with, and if I don't, all the other things I'm already playing, if I have like room for it and I want something new, then sure, maybe. But otherwise, I'll probably do like I do most of the time, wait and see. Okay, now there's 2 or 3 games out for this system that I want. Now I'll get it.
Well, and a lot of it for me will depend on backwards compatibility day one. If PlayStation 4 has backwards compatibility day one, and I can play my VR and my VR games and what games I own on a PlayStation 5, that would make me invest in it early and then wait on those games, especially if it ends up being like, well, you get the PlayStation 4 Pro quality graphics out of it. You get the updated, or better. Yeah, you get maybe a little better, whatever out of it. So, I don't know. I mean, we'll find out when they start cranking out those kind of ideas. But I mean, honestly, though,
give us another year and we'll have a much better idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, but at this point, I can hardly say it. Right now, it's going to be based on price for me. Price. Because that was my big thing with why I went from 360 to PlayStation 4 was because I could save $100 on a PlayStation 4 and spend that $100 on a game or maybe 2.
It's all because of that Connect too. That Connect is where that extra 100 came from.
And it just wasn't
interesting
worth it
to see what the next 2, what they're like and what differences there are. Is there going to be a big difference? Like the Connect is in one, so it's a whole lot different price. Are they going to be about the same? There's only a couple little minor things that are different. It'll be interesting to find out how that's going to shake out.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting ways that the next gen could go with Microsoft or with Sony kind of going to Microsoft and saying we want to use some of your xCloud technology to improve our cloud technology. Is this, and maybe Nintendo's kind of getting in bed with Xbox too, with some sharing of games and sharing of stuff like this, and different rumors of hearing maybe Game Pass coming to streaming to Switch and stuff like this. It makes you wonder: are the big 3 going? Well, you know what? We're going to kind of work together on a little bit of things over here on the side because Google's got their streaming thing going, and we just want people to go. And instead of fighting each other over here and letting Google come in, let's just all kind of do our little fighting, but still kind of work together and push Google off over here on the side.
I think it's one of those symbiotic relationships where I think at the end of the day everyone kind of benefits because every single one of them have pros and cons, and they all have one thing that they do better than the other. And I think when you share little things here and there, you're going to better the competition, and by having that competition be better, you want to prove them wrong in the long run, right? So if they're doing something better, then you're going to top them on that. Then they're going to top you on that. Then you're going to top them on that. So versus this monopoly where you get to like a stagnant point because everyone's just like, okay, well, we're making money because we're at the top, so we don't need to innovate anymore. Right. I mean, look at Apple. So
Yeah, well, I mean, and you saw that with PlayStation. You saw that with 360 and PlayStation 3. Xbox came out, and the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 2 trounced everybody. And then when the PlayStation 3 came out, they were like, "Here's this big $600 behemoth," and everybody went, "Well, I can go over here to the Xbox and pay half of that," And then it flip flopped, and then when the 4 came out, it flip flopped again, and then. So who knows what it's going to flip-flop again. But there's one constant, if anything, there's one constant with all of them is all of them say they don't want to see Nintendo go. Because, that's the one thing you never hear either one of them say. So,
I mean, that's because we're in a better space.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like now you go back to like GameCube where they're trying to be the same like level of technology as the other ones, and you have 3, and that just doesn't quite work.
Right.
But having Nintendo as kind of its own space over here,
right? It's beating its own drum.
A secondary console works well for everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of they've hit this nice stride. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's
keeps that way.
It's weird to see those things out. So before we go, Eric, you will be going to PAX West. I keep wanting to say.
I will be.
When is that? Is that the end of the month?
Yep, Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. Okay.
So I will be there. So if you follow me on Twitter at Cube00, KUBE00, you can see what I'm doing, walking around, whatnot. If you want to come by and find me and say hi, maybe I'll buy you a soda or an adult beverage.
But he has to card.
I will be around.
Yeah, because you don't want to be buying alcohol for underage people.
I mean, it should be a good time. I haven't been to PAX West in a couple of years, and I haven't had a media pass in 6 years. So
yeah,
should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, lots of hopefully lots of things set up for company interviews and some behind the scenes.
I will do it all
shenanigans.
Definitely report back.
Awesome. Well, let's see. I was trying to look at the calendar. Our next show would actually be the weekend of the 25th, so that'd be the week before you go, right? Because Labor Day the following weekend.
Yes.
Right?
So I will be. Yep, that weekend we should work. I'll be around.
Okay.
Or at least Sunday. Sunday should be good.
That's what we'll shoot for, unless I have to be out of town for work on that Sunday. If not, we'll do it Saturday. I don't know. I've been having to drive on Sundays to be at work at Monday, so sometimes that happens. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so fall's coming, so we're gonna have all kinds of stuff to talk about here and all kinds of games to play because it's gonna start getting crazy about the end of the month, and it'll just roll through until Thanksgiving usually is when it finally slows down, and then we got the holidays. So yeehaw! So hey, winter will be here before you know it, and I'm happy. I'm ready for some cold weather.
Pokemon, Luigi's Mansion. Yeah. Nintendo's got a lot of good things coming out this holiday.
Yeah, and that's what mostly I've got pre-ordered just by looking at things. I don't have a whole lot on. There's some games on PS4 on the VR that are coming out that I'm looking forward to, but nothing definitive that I'm like, I've got to have it day one.
Speaking of, is Concrete Genie out yet? I've been looking forward to that. Or is that coming out soon?
No, hang on. I have it on my wish list because it actually just came up for pre-order.
Okay, because that's my next big VR game, I think, is Concrete Genie.
Yeah, I think that is too, and it's soon. Hang on, my buff. I need my buff.
I got an email about it, I think, yesterday, but I didn't look much into it.
Let's see here. Hang on. I have to... Stuff I want. Where did it go? Yeah, Concrete Genie, $29.99. October 8th is when it comes out.
Oh, October 8th, okay.
Yeah, but it is actually... it is actually... Wow, on Amazon, you can actually buy 2 games, save, buy one, get one 50% off. And that's
Target's having the same thing. They probably do that
right now.
They probably are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it work for pre-orders too?
This Concrete Jungle is a pre-order, or Concrete
Target
Genie is a
Target's doing it.
Yeah, Target's doing it too. So I'll have to look at Target. I still haven't brought Dragon Age or Dragon Quest Builders or Builders 2 or whatever it is.
That's right, Builders 2, yeah.
Builders 2. I do want to get that one too because I did enjoy the first one.
Yeah, I used one of my Switch vouchers for that. I still haven't played it yet just because of the amount of stuff I've had to Play in the meantime, and then all the reviews and whatnot, because that's a game I want to dedicate
Yeah.
time to. And then with me being in Fire Emblem right now, oh no, I'm not doing 2 RPGs like that. No way.
That's a rabbit hole game too. That is
Yes.
a rabbit hole game too.
Oh yes, oh yes. The first one was brilliant. So
Yeah, the
second
first one
one
was brilliant. So I need to hop on Target and see if they've got it on sale or anything, because I know Amazon had it for like $50 or something like that. If not, I'll just buy it on Amazon. So. All right, well, we will be shooting for 2 weeks for our next show. If you follow us on Twitter at GL__ podcast, you will know about 12 hours or 10 hours or maybe 2 hours, depending on how quick I get the tweet out when we're going live. I try to do it in the mornings, but sometimes I get busy and I forget. So sometimes it's not till later in the afternoon or an hour before we start. That's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
See you guys later.
Take care.